Melody here. You might know me as ApplePie Movement. I am a humanitarian sharing the stories with humanity which need to be heard. In today's conversation with Christine McKay, we discussed how she went from food stamps to Harvard to negotiating some of the most complex corporate contracts of our time. So grab a piece of pie. Come on, join our conversation.
The memory runs out. Let's just finish our conversation that keeps getting interrupted, and somehow I feel like maybe this is the conversation that's meant to be heard since we started talking about it. We've been interrupted about 3 times by my technology, so maybe this is what. But we were talking about these difficult conversations of inclusion and what can we do to create inclusive conversations. What is the responsibility of people of white privilege? I mean, you can't change it, but if you have woken up and you do realize this is something that needs to be addressed, how can we in a productive way change the narrative, flip the script?
I think you just intentionally invite. I mean, if you know that you are going to have a gathering a group and you know that it's going to be, I don't care if it's all white, all black, all Asian, take your pick, whatever, whatever identity it is, whatever that all is. And there are times when, like I think as a bisexual woman, I think there are times when I just really like being around people who are like me, and that's okay. But I think
so the LGBTQ community.
Yes, but I
Have
think.
you been to bisexual pride, by the way? Did you know there's a bisexual pride?
No, and we that's a topic for another day because I have a thing about that. So I want to learn more about that. I did not know that. Definitely want to learn more. I think that we need to invite. Like if I'm like because I host a women's brunch every third Saturday of the month. And I pay attention to, but it's just a women's brunch, no men are allowed. And that way it keeps dialogue open on women's issues. But there's a huge diversity in the population. I gather people from all over the world that come to the brunch.
Sounds beautiful.
And it's awesome. It's tomorrow if you are available and want to join me.
Oh yes,
It's at noon.
Okay.
So I think it's just making sure that we invite people into those conversations, invite people who are not like us into those conversations, putting ourselves in situations where we are surrounded by people who are not like
How
us.
do we do that? If you are open to that, other than hosting a meetup saying, if you do not look like this profile picture, please come. I mean,
Well,
how would somebody do that if they have no idea how to start?
Well, I mean, let's say you did do it on Meetup. Most everybody has a profile picture with Meetup. So, I mean, if you're talking about racial inclusion, then it's pretty easy to figure out. Okay, do I have a good mix of, is this monochromatic, so to speak? And I don't care if it's monochromatic, whatever direction. The dialogue has to exist in both. And people of minority populations also need to find courage to be able to have a conversation and raise that difficult conversation, but have it with a white person and and we all have to not let that become a battle, but just have it be a productive, open dialogue that leads to action. Because I think the more we can have that dialogue and we can initiate that, and I think that, things like this, what you're doing, I think what you're doing is takes a huge step forward in raising the consciousness of a large group of people. I mean, I bet that there aren't a lot of minorities that know that lynching laws don't.
It's true, equally among everybody that I go
it's
to.
Just like, right? It's like, because everyone just kind of was like, what? I thought that would have become illegal, after the civil rights movement. I mean, I'm just like.
That's what most people say.
What?
Regardless of ethnicity or socioeconomic background.
So, but I think that what you're doing, and by having these kind of these kind of conversations, and you were telling me about some of the other people that you've interviewed and how you had a really good conversation just the other day with somebody on inclusion. I think having that conversation and just putting it out there and having it in the open and making it an acceptable topic to talk about goes a long way.
Because I think there are so many people that are like you, that are like me, that are like the other guests that have had an ApplePie TableTalk, where we really want to have an inclusive community. We really want to have an American culture that is an apple pie. I mean, if you think about it, there's so many different ways to make an apple pie, and so many different apples to include. And if we just adopt that of how can I be a good apple today? How can I speak up when somebody's humanity is being attacked and defend another person's humanity? That's all you need to do.
That's it. It's really just not that hard.
To be a good apple and speak up.
Exactly. And